Perfect. So, again, thank you so much for attending the Adulting 101 How to Overcome Burnout. So, if you have any questions, definitely ask them during the presentation. And also, when I ask questions, if you could participate just to help with the learning and also to help you reflect as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. And I would just want to make sure that my that no one else is waiting in the chat, okay, or the waiting room. So you may have a lot going on in your schedule, such as juggling a full course load or a job, extracurriculars, and a social life. And I just wanted to make sure, is it recording? Oh, it is. Okay. I do apologize. On top of that, someone may reach out to you to ask for some help with a task, and I'm pretty sure you went through this before and you have a lot going on. In that moment, you realize you're way over your head, but you can't help but not to assist them, right? So definitely you take on that extra load. Have you ever experienced that before?
Yes.
Is it usually like family,
Times.
family or work that puts more on your plate or anything like that?
Yes. I have a baby, a
Hmm.
little girl, and I'm 40 and I decided to go back to school. So I'm learning how to juggle all this. So I thought this would be a good session for me to be in just because I get burnt out just from being a mom. And then when I go to do my schoolwork, it's like I just want some pointers.
Yes. Yes, it's very challenging because I've been through that like multiple times because I have two kids. And hey, Kendria, how are you today? I hope you can hear us. But yeah, I've been mom twice. My kids are a lot older now, thankfully, like preteenish. So I definitely know what it's like struggling getting that bachelor's, and you have an infant to take care of. How about your time management? How's that going for you?
It's getting better. I did do the time management a meeting with one of the other advisors. So for me, it's getting better. I don't have much of a choice during the weekdays, but as soon as my wife comes home, I go immediately in the office, and I'm usually in there until bedtime. And on the weekends, I have time, so it's getting better. I'm working on it.
Oh, good. I'm happy you have a family support system. You guys are trying to
Yeah.
establish a schedule. So there's someone to take care of the baby all the time. Do you guys only use each other to watch the child, or do you guys have daycare?
We use our family right now, not daycare, not yet.
Okay. No worries. So if you ever need any resources, myself or Derek, we're both the campus counselors, so we can definitely provide you with information with the child care assistance, okay, in the community where you're
Thanks.
at. So
Oh, that's
I don't want you
great.
feeling like, hey, there's no one to watch the kid when you may qualify for child care assistance.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And it says, since you took extra time in the day to help someone else in need and you put aside your own obligations, you find yourself overwhelmed, exhausted, stressed, and strapped for time all during the cohort of college. How did you get to this point? Is because you could not say no, right? So learning to say no is okay. I had to learn to say no, even though it may hurt someone's feelings, but you have to still watch out for your own well-being. Now, this is what leads to a burnout. According to the National College Health Assessment, stress negatively affects 30% of college students in the US. But what exactly is burnout? What are the warning signs, and how can we avoid it and still be successful students or professionals? What is burnout? Well, David Billard of the American Psychological Association describes job related burnout as an extended period of time where someone experiences exhaustion and lack of interest in things, resulting in a decline in their job performance. So it takes a time, right, to have that feeling of burnout. Um, and it also these symptoms are associated with that. So of course, if you replace job with a student, that definition still remains the same. But before you diagnose yourself with burnt out, it's important to make the distinction between stress and burnout. I find myself being more stressed and burnt out. But if I hit that wall, I could definitely tell a difference. So stress is characterized by over engagement. Emotions are overactive, produces urgency and hyperactivity, loss of energy, leads to anxiety disorders. Primary damage is physical. Now, burnout is characterized by disengagement, emotions are blunted, produces helplessness and hopelessness. Loss of motivation leads to depression. Primary damage is emotional. So those are the two different ones. Now, Ballard notes that burnout entails a decline in performance. It's possible to experience stress without burning out. In fact, some stress can actually improve cognitive performance. If your stress is taking a toll on your academic life, social life, or overall well-being, then you might be experiencing burnout. Do you feel you're either one at this point?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Um, yes, a little bit, I would say.
And we'll go over some tips and tricks that can probably assist, and you just fit it
Yeah.
into your lifestyle, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
at least you're recognizing, okay, am I stressed? Am I burnt out? What am I feeling? I know I'm not
I
feeling.
would say stressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then at least you want to recognize it a lot earlier so it doesn't turn into burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Now, burnout warning signs. You can prevent burnout by understanding its precursors. These may include, but aren't limited to, you're constantly exhausted, you lack motivation, you're constantly frustrated, your grades are suffering, you're struggling to pay attention, you feel disengaged from friends and colleagues. Now, what exactly causes burnout? We need to understand its root causes. Now, you've probably experienced stress as a result of a singular task or event, but a looming test, like a looming test or job interview. But burnout is different because it doesn't happen overnight and it doesn't occur due to one incident. Burnout can take months or even years to develop. But why does it happen? So a 2006 study at the University of Southern Maine surveyed 354 students to get to the bottom of why they were burning out. Here's a look at the findings. 5% of students reported mental or physical issues. About 13% attributed their burnout to a lack of personal motivation. A quarter said that outside influences were a major cause, such as family troubles, financial issues, and time management struggles caused by things like a part-time job. Less than 5% reported problems with professors to be a cause. The most prevalent cause by far was assignment overloads, which I know you guys have a lot of assignments, exams, and that is majority of the reasons why. Almost half of the students who reported feelings of burnout cited their overbearing, overtaxing course load as the main cause of the problem. So practice those time management skills, have a planner. When you study, you can try to figure out, different methods to improve your study habit. I know some students will study for 25 to 35 minutes, then take a break, and then go back to their studies instead of studying 10 hours straight. Now, figuring out what's causing you to experience feelings of burnout is crucial in order to solve the problem and prevent it from happening later in your professional life. Whether you're just noticing the symptoms of burnout or you're barely hanging on to your academic life by a thread, the following strategies should be able to help you. We'll explore preventative strategies, sleep habits, and everything in between. You might benefit from a combination of these tips, or maybe one will do the trick. Now, take the warning signs seriously. First and foremost, recognizing the early signs of burnout and to anticipate things that cause it is the first step to freedom. It's much easier, more efficient to manage burnout when your mental ability isn't prevented by constant exhaustion or frustration. By stepping in early, you give yourself a chance to do better work than you've ever been able to do under endless stress and fatigue. Learn how to say no. When you are ambitious, it's hard to say no. We accept any challenge or opportunity that comes our way because we want to impress our peers and superiors by juggling all sorts of obligations. Taking on more work might give you the illusion of being productive and talented, but unfortunately, there will be a hidden price to pay later that may cause you to suffer, such as having less time to think, reflect, grow, and learn. If you don't draw the line, then burnout is inevitable. So, because we are in the rat race, right? We like to climb that corporate ladder. It is an illusion to overload yourself and also feeling productive when really you should have peace scheduled in. Meditation, doing something you like, instead of everything just work focused. So sleep, your sanity depends on it. Now college culture tends to glorify that all-nighter as if it's a badge of honor to be sleep deprived and on the edge of hysteria. Often depicted are the 12-hour study sessions where blurry-eyed students who chug down caffeine in order to crank through their term exams or cram for a final exam. Now, unfortunately, we don't glorify the students who got 7 or 8 hours of sleep the night before and earned a higher grade than the student who pulled an all-nighter. Does anyone want to share how their sleep has been going lately? I'll just be honest, mine has been up and down. I do pay the price. And it's not more over, I think it's just when I don't complete a task, because I like to complete my task in a timely manner, and I hate to, wait the next day to finish it. So that bothers me and affects my sleep. But if any of you have any like weird sleep patterns that is associated with this, and you can use the chat if you don't want to use the mic or anything like that.
I haven't been sleeping great, but that's because I think we have finals coming up, and yes, I just have a lot on my mind, and it's hard for me to relax. I've been waking up at like 5 a.m. and I can't fall back asleep, and then I feel exhausted all day. And then when I try and study at nighttime after the baby goes down, I'm like falling asleep at the desk.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's hard to juggle, but like you mentioned and shared before, that you're trying to, have family to support you in that task so you can, have a great study habit, but also that sleep pattern, because it's a new baby, it can be challenging. And unfortunately, you're just going to have those sleepless nights. And train your baby to work with you. When my children, when I was finishing up college, was a baby, I had to train my baby to have naps when I need the baby to have a nap so I can study, or help the baby to have, what would I say, focus on multiple tasks. Even though children, you have to switch up their activities, they're on my lap, and I would have different things like a book, okay, and their attention span went away after a minute or two, and now I have to switch it to a certain toy or a tablet, or just something engaging with their own learning, instead of letting the television babysit them, because that only lasts for a short amount of time also. But also it trains your baby to recognize, hey, mom's studying, let me go ahead and start playing with this toy quietly, or let me do something also quietly like my mom. So there's one key difference between these two types of students. One is on the path to burnout and the other is not. Sacrificing sleep might give you the illusion of productivity, but students will perform better academically when they trade in extra hours of studying for an extra hour of sleep. So if you do need to call in, literally, because I know you guys are working, going to school, you may need to call in from work like, hey, I need to, sleep in for my own well-being. You may have to do that. We don't want you to suffer, not just your grades or anything like that, but we want you to have your well-being as a person yourself. Because I know when I was working, I was like, you know what, I'm just not feeling it today. I have to call in at work because I know I have to finish this assignment before class begins in the evening. So I had to make that balance and sacrifice at times. Now, don't bite off more than you can chew. Most students think that it is always better to have too much work to do than not enough. Truthfully, you need to find a balance. A good rule to follow is this: be willing to challenge yourself, but think very carefully before committing to long-term obligations that will stretch your resources thin. You have limitations, and surpassing them for too long can have negative consequences. This lesson about moderation is especially important when it comes to determining your course load and your demanding work schedule because it can contribute to student burnout. Have you guys experienced long-term commitments that um, where you did not even take a break from it, right? And it could be years, like just going to school, like a junior college, right? Have you guys felt that verge of burnout when you didn't take that break? The course load was too much. Any previous experience with that at a different school? And I know, just to share, when I was finishing up my master's, even though it seemed it was like a cool, I would say, cool breeze for me with my bachelor's program for some reason. I think because I was younger, had more motivation. But when you get older, um, you start to slow down and you start to get tired, of doing the same repeat, but you still want to advance yourself. So I did recognize sometimes where during my master's program, I said, hey, I can't just keep pushing through my classes back to back like I used to, or carry multiple loads like I used to. I'm going to have to take this break, or talk to my school counselor. What are my options right now? Talk to my instructor because I'm struggling in class. I can't even like submit my work on time. My grades are suffering. And when you communicate, it does allow the, I would say that wraparound service, that counselor, the instructor, because they're your main support in the school, to know what's going on so they can work with you so you can keep going and they keep motivating you and they're pretty flexible and work with you to catch up on your work so you can successfully pass a class instead of having to fail and retake it. Have you guys ever experienced something like that? No, but at least I gave you illustration, just in case someone who does watch this recording, maybe they felt that way and didn't know. I can talk to my counselor or my instructor, and they will work with you. We want you to be successful. Oops, wrong one. So find the off switch. Don't develop a bad habit in college. An area that some students may struggle with after college is not being able to hit the off switch when it comes to work. You may respond to emails and Slack messages immediately, even it's late at night. Um, you will respond to these and you're off the clock, as well as try to knock out assignments fast, even if it's on the weekend. So that balance, like Elaine shared, she's trying to have in time management and having a study schedule. You do need to learn to have that off switch, whether it's work and then incorporate time for study for a certain duration and also you time, that self-care time. Obviously, this isn't a sustainable system. Left unattended, these long stretches of constant mental activity and periodic interruption can lead to burnout. When a computer or phone operates nonstop, it glitches and slows down. Your brain is no different. That's why you need to hit the brain's off switch so it can cool down and recharge. And when I shared that story when I was finishing up my master's degree program at a point towards the middle of the program, I felt this, like my drive, my brain, everything was slowing down. I said, it's either work, school, I don't know. But definitely when I start communicating with my instructor, because they have the control over the grading in the class, they were able to work with me with the plan to get caught up and on task again. So while there will be some days when you just want to binge watch your favorite show or party with friends, the most effective escapes from work are ones where you have a sense of progress and productivity outside of traditional work. This might be exercising, reading, or volunteering. Did you guys incorporate any of these different types of things into your schedule, like exercising, doing something you like to do, or any extracurricular type of work? And I would say I still struggle with exercising, even though mentally in my mind I made a mental note, because even the gym is not that far from my apartment. I will do something here at home, which is whether lunges in front of my computer when I take that break or something, just so I can feel productive, take and feel refreshed when I get back to my work. So, as for help, education and adulthood can often feel like an ongoing pursuit. There's always something being added to the already heavy load on your shoulders. Fortunately, you don't have to go through it alone. You can contact the campus counselors to help you cope with the symptoms that causes burnout. So here's myself and Derek's emails if you guys want to get this. Also, if you use the Google School email, you could just type in our names and it would just pop up as well. So if you're not comfortable with talking to a professional about stress-related issues, sometimes it's a good venting session with a trusted friend or family member who can help clear your mind and figure out a plan to reverse the burnout cycle. You'd be surprised how many people feel or have felt the same way. So starting a dialogue can be mutually beneficial. Any questions so far? Not for Elaine. And then I gotta remember Kendra, I have to give her the PowerPoint. Well, I thank you so much, ladies, for attending the workshop. If you do have any questions, please contact myself or Derek, and definitely will assist you. We do have an open door policy, okay? All right, well, thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful